Hello everyone, Happy New Year. 2024 has started and I am very much wishing a lot of happiness and a lot of books to all of you. I only have one wish, which is for the war in my country to finally be over, and I'm gonna just work toward that. You know, like I know I can't do anything specifically, but I'm gonna keep donating and hoping, praying, whatever. Okay, now let's go into my best and worst books of 2023. I'm combining the lists because I only have 6 books on my worst list, which is good. Means I didn't hate that many books, that much. Let's begin. Okay, I have the books stocked the wrong way, so I'm just gonna start from the end of the list. Number 1 on my best books list of 2023 is Bunny by Mona Awad. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It is about writing and body horror and magic and love, and oh, it's amazing. It's about a young woman who is studying writing at a university, living with her best friend, and she gets embroiled with these girls, with these like popular girls in her class who call themselves Bunny, who call each other Bunny, and they are seemingly into some weird magic stuff. Next, we have The Story of a Shipwrecked Sailor by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Marquez is my favorite writer, and this is genuinely one of the scariest books I've ever read. I said that in every video where I talk about this. This is a real account of a man being thrown overboard and surviving 10 days in a life raft before he was thrown onto the shores of land, finally. And Marquez wrote this story down and then published it in a newspaper in little entries. But then after a lot of years, he published this as a book, and not a lot of people even knew that this wasn't just like a story that Marquez came up with, that this was a real account. The next one is The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. Is it? Yeah, Catherine Addison. This is great. This is about Maya. He's half goblin, half elf, and the whole imperial family, the emperor and all of his descendants, all of his heirs, everybody dies in a freak blimp crash, and Maya has to become emperor. He's 19 years old. He grew up away from the court. He doesn't know anything about the court, and he was never even in line in running to be emperor because he was mixed race. But he becomes emperor, and the relationships between Maya and his court are one of my favorite things in literature in general, and it made me cry. It's a beautiful political fantasy. It's a little wordy, so if you like that, you might enjoy it. Then number 4 is Insomnia by Sarah Pinborough. God, I hate this cover. I really do want to repaint this. I've been saying this for a year. This is a thriller from the author of Behind Her Eyes. God, my dog wants to come in, one sec. She's my silly little dog. She always likes to stay there so she can bark at the neighbors as they pass by our door. And then she's like, oh no, I need to be with mom. And she comes crashing at my door. Basically, this is a crazy thriller with a crazy twist about a woman who's gonna turn 40, and she's worried because her mom went insane or something like that when she turned 40, and she's trying to prevent that. And things are starting to happen. She gets insomnia, and Ian Rankin said that this is a gaslighting masterclass, and this is exactly what I was thinking while I was reading this. And then I turned it around and I read it, and I was like, oh, so yeah, that's I'm not crazy. That is actually funny. So it's great. It also has a little like Easter egg connection to Behind Her Eyes at the very end. So if you read Behind Her Eyes and you loved the crazy plot twist, you're gonna love this. I screamed when I got to the Easter egg connection. Number 5 is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I don't have my copy because I gifted it to a friend. Yes, it is as good as everybody says. Yes, it's brilliant and it's perfect. It's an Hercule Poirot mystery where he travels on the Orient Express and a murder occurs and he has to figure out what happened. The plot twist was great, the reveal was great, and it's perfect. It's really a very well-crafted mystery. So if you wanted to get into Agatha Christie, maybe this is the one that you can start with. You don't have to read the Poirot novels in order, so if you like this one, maybe then you can start with the very first one. Then we have Going Postal by Terry Pratchett. This is the only Terry Pratchett book I read this year, which is making me kind of sad because I want to have more Terry Pratchett in my life. I have a bunch of his books. I've just been putting them aside for whatever reason. You know, like when you really want to read a book and then you just think, no, I gotta save that. Don't save that, just read the book you want to read. This is what I'm gonna do this year. Going Postal is about a con man who is arrested, and instead of getting executed, he gets a job offer to reinstall and start working again the post office in Ankh-Morpork in the city. The way he does it and the things that happen there and all the characters in it are so great. I don't know why I even need to explain it like that. Like, if you've read anything by Terry Pratchett, you know how amazing all the characters and hilarious everything that happens is. I loved this book, it was great. And then we watched the BBC miniseries. To be quite honest with you, I didn't much like it because it was great, it was very funny, but certain casting choices were not as good, and they changed the personality of one integral character so much that I didn't really enjoy it because of that. So yeah, but the book is incredible. Number 7, we've got A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Oh my god. I read this book during, I can't remember, what was it called? It was not Spookathon. It was some gothic, Summerween, that's it. It was a spooky readathon in summer. During Summerween, I read this book, and I will forever hold dear in my head memories of me sitting on the balcony in my beanbag chair with the air, yes, she's agreeing, with the air all warm outside and this book just destroying me. This is about Dracula's brides. It starts with one woman, then another, then a guy, and this is about toxic love and non-toxic love. There's polyamory here and bisexuality, and it's incredible. It is spooky, scary, romantic, and just beautiful, and I literally cannot wait for anything else that S.T. Gibson writes. I know right now they're writing, I think, a fantasy romance, which is not specifically like an erotic fantasy romance, which is not specifically my genre, but I literally cannot wait to read it because this was so good that I'm gonna pick up everything from this author. Then the next book we have is Geisha of Gion by Megumi Wasaki. You probably haven't heard me talking about this book yet because the vlog that I'm reading this for, that I read this for, hasn't been posted yet because it's taking me literally months to film. So I'm gonna release it pretty soon, I think, but like maybe in a month or something like that. This is the autobiography of the woman who was interviewed by Arthur Golden to write his Memoirs of a Geisha. And after Memoirs of a Geisha came out, Megumi Wasaki sued him because he mentioned her by name in the acknowledgements, which he was not supposed to do. There's a whole story there. You're gonna find out more about it when my vlog comes out about these books. And if you have ever wanted to read Memoirs of a Geisha, but you've heard of the controversy, read this instead, because this is the true account of what it was like to be a geisha at that time, at that place, and it's incredible. It's really well written, it's very fun to read. Hello, my love, do you want to participate? Yes, yes, you're my little dog. And it's just delightful. What is it you want? What is it you want, my precious pupper? My precious puppin. She's my precious little puppin. Next we have Thorn by Inar Kanani. This is a retelling of The Goose Girl, and I read it for Gothtober, and it makes me mad that nobody's talking about this book because it was so good. It's genuinely a really good fairy tale retelling. It's well written, it's engaging, it's beautiful. The relationships between characters, not necessarily even only romantic relationships, just relationships, are so believable, and it was just incredible. I loved it so much. I'm not gonna tell you more about the plot. Like, if you know what Goose Girl is about, you know what this book is about. I have never read Goose Girl, actually, by the way, so this whole plot was a surprise to me, and when one sad thing happened in the book, I was so devastated. And I was talking to Stephanie on her Discord, and I was like, no, and Stephanie said, yeah, I knew that that was gonna happen because I read the original book, original story, original fairy tale. But like, and sorry, I don't want to spoil anything, it's just a really good book. So like, if you like fantasy and you like fantasy retellings, read Thorn by Inar Kanani. Next we have The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I really want to read what I think he's writing the 5th now, or the 5th one just came out, so there are 4 more books in the series so far. This is a mystery series about the septuagenarian people living in a retirement community solving murders, and I heard a lot of people like saying, oh, it's boring, and I kind of get where they would get that from, but I thought it was delightful because I think the way that society treats older people is disgusting, and we need to talk about that. And I read this for Gothtober as well, for my empowerment trope that I had, because I think it's very important to empower older people and to prove to society and to these older people that they are not used up because they are older, that they can still live fulfilling lives, and that they are important. There's a whole person inside there. This is really actually very prevalent in my own culture, like in Ukraine. Old people are not treated with respect and dignity, they don't get good pensions, and it breaks my heart every single day. And this is why so many old people are so bitter and unhappy, because we don't treat them well and because they don't have the means to survive. Why am I talking about this? I'm supposed to be talking about books. Sorry. Basically, this is about these people in a retirement community solving murders. This is book number 1. There are 4 main characters from the retirement community. They have friends at the police and other various characters, and it was a delightful book. It made me cry, it made me laugh, and I really, really, really want to read the rest. And this year I am probably going to have to read 4 more books from this series. Richard Osman is also a very funny guy. I've seen him on QI a few times and he's hilarious. Right, next we've got Radiance by Grace Draven. This is also one of my favorite books now, which is surprising to me because this is fantasy romance and that is not my genre at all. Like, anything with romance in it, I generally just don't care. But I read this again for Gothtober. Lisa, can you try and stop choking me, please, my love? Yes, my baby. Okay, so I read this for Gothtober. My prompt was spicy, I think. So I chose this because I heard a lot about it and I thought, well, you know, might as well try it. This is about these 2 people, Ildiko and Brishan. They are, as you can see, of 2 very different races. They are from neighboring kingdoms and they have to get married for political alliance. The thing is, though, that these 2 races find each other disgusting and there's not gonna be any love there or anything like that. This is the perfect way of writing strangers to friends to lovers. This is the kind of romance, like if I ever read romance again, I want it to be like this. Because the relationship between them was so believable and the friendship between them was so precious that I didn't like even care if there was gonna be any romance. I just, can you stop? Can you please not move the tripod, my love? I know you've got a lot of energy, but I need to film. And then we're gonna go to the park. Oh, her ears perked up. Sorry. Right, so there's a second book as well in the series and I'm gonna read it soon. Deborah and I are gonna reread this one. Well, Deborah's gonna be reading this for the first time and I'm gonna reread this, and then we're gonna read Eidolon, which is number 2 in the series, together. And I cannot wait. Like, I'm so excited to read this again 3 months after I've read it. It was that good. It was that incredible. There's only like 2 spicy scenes or something like that, and they were not bad at all, because sometimes smut in books is so cringy. Sarah J. Maas, looking at you. But this was actually delightful. So if you've never read fantasy romance and you think romance is not your genre, maybe give this a try. It was incredible. The next one is The Death of Vivic OG by Akwaeke Emezi, and it was devastatingly beautiful. I cried. This is about Vivic OG, who is a non-binary person, and it takes him a long time to figure that out. Vivic lives in Nigeria and people don't understand what's going on with Vivic. Vivic doesn't even understand what's going on a lot of the time as well, and they need help from friends and family to figure it out, but not everybody is supportive. We know from the name that Vivic dies, and it starts from Vivic's death, and then we unravel it backwards to figure out what happened. In that, it actually reminded me of Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So if you read that and you liked the structure, you will enjoy this. But then again, I'm warning you, it's gonna break your heart, but read it anyway because it's beautiful. I really want to read everything Akwaeke Emezi wrote. I saw a book by them at the bookshop and it's a romance, I think. I'm not, like, it looks like a romance cover, like Christina Henry-esque kind of. This is what the cover looks like. But I think it's something about self-discovery as well. So I want to read that. Basically, this was beautiful and I'm so glad I read it. Also, I knocked this out in a couple of hours. I could not stop reading this. It's pretty short. And I also I didn't want it to end. I just wanted to sit there and read forever. Now, the next one we have is The Liar by Stephen Fry. I don't even know how to describe this book to you because so many things happen. First of all, the best description I can give you is, if you like Stephen Fry, read this. And also, if you are a linguistic junkie like me, this is gonna give you a linguistic orgasm. It was beautiful. It was incredible. The turn of phrase, what this man does with words is just, oh my God. So this is about Adrian, who from his very young age was a liar, just a pathological liar. He cannot stop himself. He likes to fib, make up stories, and just create things from his life that they aren't. And he gets involved, not in like a sexual way, just involved in a friendship relationship with one of his professors at college, and this professor takes him on a trip to Europe for some reason. There's like a mystery around this trip, why they're even going. A bunch of this is written in code, and you think, what is going on? Like, there's a few chapters every now and then that are written in like spy code, like spies are talking to each other, and you're thinking, what is going on? The ending put it all into places, like I understood what's going on immediately, but it's hard to recommend because I think a lot of people are not going to enjoy it because you can't specifically put it in one genre. But if that messy explanation sounded interesting to you, oh, my camera's about to die, please don't die, I need to finish this, then read The Liar. Okay, the two last books in my best of 2024 are Holly by Stephen King. I loved this so much, mostly because I love Holly Gibney, and I'm so incredibly happy that it was good and that I got it as soon as it came out. Thank you to my friend, shout out to my friend Anastasia, who lives in Germany right now and was able to get me this book. It's about Holly Gibney after all of the other books that she was in, and after If It Bleeds. So if you haven't read If It Bleeds and the Mr. Mercedes trilogy and The Outsider, there are kind of recounts of what happened there in this book, but I would still recommend that you read those. Even if you like Stephen King, it's not going to be that much reading, that much extra reading. I would want to give a spoiler warning for content in this book, but that would spoil kind of the... It wouldn't, because it's in the synopsis, but I didn't read the synopsis. I just started reading it and I was very surprised when I figured out who the killers were and what they were actually doing. But since it's in the synopsis, I'm gonna say it because this is a content warning. Spoiler, in my opinion, cannibalism in this book. So if you've got a problem with that, skip this one. If you can handle it, read it. It's incredible. Holly is amazing. I want to be her best friend. And I'm so glad that I got to spend so much time again with Holly and Barbara and Jerome, and it was incredible. And now, number one on my favorites book of the year. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing it like that. I was gonna do like a drum roll, but I'm not doing these in order of me loving them. I love them all equally. This is the last one in the list. Rouge by Mona Awad. I've got two books by Mona Awad on my list this year. This is about a woman who comes to California for her mom's funeral, and she had kind of a love-hate relationship with her mother because her mother was obsessed with beauty, which made this little girl obsessed with beauty as well. Her mother is this beautiful, like, pale-skinned woman, and she constantly talks about beauty, and this little girl's, this main character's father was Egyptian, so she has darker skin, darker hair, like body hair, and she hates herself. So from a very young age, she started to be obsessed with beauty as well. She has all these creams, she constantly watches videos of beauticians on YouTube, and when she comes to her mother's funeral, very strange things start to happen. She needs to just pack up her mom's stuff and sell it all, but she starts to kind of get sucked into her mom's old life. This has something to do with mirrors, magic, strange magic, obsession with beauty, mother-daughter relationship, and all of that was very interesting to me. And it is written in such an incredible way. Mona Awad is such a good writer. You feel it in the text the moment the main character's sanity starts to slip, because the tone of the writing changes so much. And then whenever something like that happens, the tone of the writing changes. I noticed that same thing in Bunny, and it just requires such incredible skill. I admire her so much. I want to be Mona Awad when I grow up, seriously. So yes, this was a great read. And now, let's move on to the 6 books that I didn't love that much and that I put on the list of the worst reads of 2023. Which books do you think are gonna be there, my love? Do you know? Because you were there when I was reading all of them. Stop poking your little precious tongue out at me. You know I can't resist this face. Okay. Right. Number 1 is The Secret of Poppy Ridge Cove by Remy London. Honestly, I don't even know why I read this book, why I'm putting it on the list. Because it was just like, I don't want to say mean things because it's a person that wrote the book, but I feel so bad every single time I have to badmouth a book. But this was just like a sad little attempt at cozy mystery. But the plot didn't make any sense. The characters didn't make any sense. It was more of a romance than it was a mystery. And there's like 12 or 14 more books in this series. It's about a woman who goes on a hike with her boyfriend and their 2 friends who they've set up, and they find this beautiful house in the red grove trees. What are they called? You know the ones, the big ones. Anyway, they find this beautiful old house, and she's like, oh my god, I have to buy this house. And she has no money at all. And her boyfriend says, are you gonna buy the house? And then they go around the house and they find a bunch of severed heads of animals, or like decapitated animals, on the porch of the house. And this woman still goes, I want to buy this house. That's just like a little problem that we have to fix. And all throughout the book, when more decapitated animals show up, I'm just thinking like, what is wrong with you? If I saw that, I would have run farther than I can see. And like, I get it, but oh god. Basically, it was just not very good. I gave it 1 star. Okay, my camera died, just like I predicted. What was I talking about? The Secret of Poppy Ridge Cove? Basically, yeah, it was by Remy London. Yeah, it was more of a romance than it was a cozy mystery, and the mystery element was not very well done. Got my makeup smudged and I look like a crazy clown, but it's fine because I am a crazy clown. So that was not a very good choice. I only read it because I ran out of books that I can read on Scribd. There's like this system that you can read any book up until like 5 or 6, and then there's only a selection of specific books that you can read in that month. And that was one of the ones that I had left, and I just decided, oh, okay, you know, I still have a bit in my month, and I read it and it was, eh. The next one, this is gonna get me cancelled. The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it about 40 or 50% because it was just so incredibly boring and nonsensical. I realized that it's a children's book, but like I am deeply convinced that good children's books are supposed to be also readily available and enjoyable for adults. And I know that a lot of people love this book so much because they imprinted on it when they read it as a child, just like A Wrinkle in Time, another beloved classic that I really, really do not like. And it makes me very sad because it's about a unicorn! I love unicorns. I love unicorns. And I wanted to read it so badly because it's about a unicorn. But it was boring and nothing was happening. And I just thought, I don't want to waste my time on this. So I DNF'd it. Then number 3 is Lo, The Delirium of Hope. It's over there and I don't want to get up to get it. Here's the cover. It's a graphic novel. This is tome 1 and I think there's like 12 of them by now already. And it was not very well done, unfortunately, as well. The art was beautiful sometimes, but sometimes it was clearly rushed. And, oh god, I have a lot of art things to say about that book, but I don't want to get into it because probably nobody cares about my artistic opinion on this specifically. But the plot also didn't... It was a good idea. It's about the world, our world, where the sun exploded and the surface of our planet is no longer livable, so people live in these underwater cities, and they're trying to send out probes into the universe to look for other planets. And there's only this one woman who still believes that this is possible, and it's about her and her family, and it was just not well done. I'm sorry. The next one that I deeply, deeply hated is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I literally recorded a 30-minute rant review about this book. Also, I worked really hard on it, so please watch it. Here's the link. I think that there's a lot of interesting information about the subject matter of this book in that video because I did my research, and I also like I got into this book because it's about Greek mythology and about people studying Greek mythology and trying to go into the sacraments that were performed, and it was just not good. It was not good. I don't want to talk anymore about this book. Just please, for the love of God, watch the video, okay? And the next one that I gave 2 stars, and I think that it deserves 1 star, is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which also makes me sad because it's signed. Got a signed copy somehow, and I really did not like it. I thought it was preachy, sanctimonious, and stupid, and all you need is love, you know, something like that. I did, however, give this to my mom for her birthday, and she loved it. So I consider myself a great book giver. Because I knew that she was gonna love it, even though I hated it and thought it was stupid. It's about a woman who is trying to take her own life, and she ends up in this place called the Midnight Library, where she can take any book off the shelves and change something about her life and try a different life until she finds one where she's actually happy. And it sounds like such an interesting concept, but the preachiness and the very clunky preachiness of this book just made me angry. And then the last book that I also hated deeply is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I talked about this book at the beginning of last year. I think I read it for some readathon or something. No, I think I just read it. I don't remember. But I remember specifically that I said that I would very much like to meet Jack Kerouac. Like, I know he's well dead, but I would love to meet him just so I could punch him in the face. Because that book is a piece of shit. And everybody in it is a piece of shit. The whole beatnik thing is interesting, which is why I wanted to read it. But they were all deeply unpleasant people. And I'm glad I read it so that I know that. But I never want to come close to anything else that Jack Kerouac has done. Okay. So that was my list of best and worst books of 2023. Please let me know what your best and worst were. I'm very interested to find out. If you've done a video of your own, you can link it down below for me so that I can watch it, or you can just tag me in the comments under your video, whatever is more comfortable for you. I'm also going to be doing a video where I'm reading people's favorite books of 2023. So if you've done a video like that and you would like me to watch it for that video, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Have a happy new year.